Welcome to IT Guy Stories, where we expose the brutal truths of the cyber world that often stay hidden behind the headlines. Here's a hard truth about cybersecurity. The biggest threats don't always come from outside your walls. Sometimes they're sitting right next to you. We often think of cyber attacks as sophisticated external hackers, phishing emails from distant lands, or massive global ransomware campaigns. But what happens when the threat comes from within? From someone who already has access, who knows your systems, and who you're supposed to trust. Insider threats are often more complex, harder to detect, and can be far more damaging because they bypass many of our traditional defenses. Today, we're peeling back the curtain on a real-world scenario where an insider nearly brought a company to its knees. This isn't just about malicious intent. It's about privilege, trust, and how easily it can all be abused, whether intentionally or negligently. Let's call our company Dataflow Dynamics, a thriving tech firm specializing in sensitive data analytics. Our insider, we'll call him Mark, was a senior systems administrator. Mark had been with Dataflow for years, knew their network inside and out, and held the keys to virtually every system. He was, by all accounts, a trusted member of the team. But over time, Mark grew quietly resentful. He felt undervalued, underpaid, and overlooked for promotions. This resentment, coupled with personal financial pressures, began to fester. Mark started seeing the company's proprietary algorithms and extensive client databases not as assets to protect, but as potential leverage or even a personal goldmine. His actions started subtly. Late at night, long after everyone else had left, Mark would log into systems he didn't typically need for his administrative duties. He'd access customer databases and intellectual property repositories, far beyond his need to know. He wasn't deleting anything. He was copying small chunks of data at first, then larger files, transferring them to encrypted personal cloud storage accounts, and occasionally to an untraceable USB drive he kept hidden. He knew how to erase his digital footprints, manipulating system logs to cover his tracks. But even the most careful insider can leave a trail. Our story unfolds as Dataflow's IT security team started noticing unusual activity. Certain database tables being accessed outside of normal business hours by Mark's credentials, larger than average outbound data transfers from internal servers that didn't align with regular operations, and attempts to bypass the company's content filtering for specific cloud services. These were the subtle tremors before the earthquake. The unseen thief was getting bolder. The moment these anomalies started raising red flags, Dataflow's IT security team faced an incredibly difficult task. Unlike an external breach where you assume the attacker is a stranger, here they were investigating one of their own. It was a deeply uncomfortable, almost personal investigation. They had to proceed with extreme caution to avoid alerting Mark while simultaneously collecting irrefutable digital evidence. This involved meticulous correlation of access logs, network flow data, and endpoint activity. The emotional toll on the team was significant. Uncovering betrayal from a trusted colleague is never easy. When the evidence was undeniable, the impact on Dataflow Dynamics was immediate and severe. They had to confront Mark, leading to his termination and potential legal action. But the damage went far beyond that. Millions of customer records, including sensitive PII, were potentially compromised. Proprietary algorithms, years in development, were now potentially in the hands of competitors. The financial cost included regulatory fines, legal fees, credit monitoring for affected customers, and a massive investment in incident response and remediation. But the reputational damage was immeasurable. How do you rebuild trust with clients after revealing an insider stole their data? Dataflow Dynamics learned the hard way that internal vulnerabilities can be far more devastating than any external attack. So how could a respected senior administrator with high-level access become such a devastating insider threat? What went wrong at Dataflow Dynamics? Firstly, and most critically, there was a severe lack of the principle of least privilege. Mark, despite being an administrator, had far more access than his day-to-day role required. He could access customer data and intellectual property databases without specific project-related justification, an open door for abuse. Secondly, while they had some logging, their insufficient logging and monitoring of user activities meant the subtle signs were almost missed. They lacked advanced user behavior analytics, UBA, that could have flagged Mark's unusual access patterns and data transfers much earlier, differentiating them from normal administrative tasks. There was also an absence of robust data loss prevention, DLP solutions, that could have detected and blocked the exfiltration of sensitive data to unauthorized external cloud services or USB drives. And finally, a contributing factor often overlooked, the company culture. A culture that doesn't effectively address employee grievances or foster a sense of belonging can unintentionally create a breeding ground for resentment. Balancing trust with stringent security protocols is a delicate act, but one that is absolutely essential to mitigate insider risks. The good news is that insider threats, while complex, are manageable with the right strategy. It requires a multifaceted approach combining technology, policy, and a healthy company culture. Let's talk about our red flags of insider threats, what to watch out for. Behavioral changes, sudden dissatisfaction, financial stress indicators, unusual working hours, especially late night without clear reason, attempts to recruit others to assist. Unusual network activity, accessing systems outside job scope, excessive data downloads or printing, attempts to bypass security controls, using personal devices or cloud storage for company data. Attempts to bypass security, asking for password overrides, trying to disable security software, or probing for vulnerabilities. Now, for the practical steps your organization can take, implement strict access controls. Grant employees only the minimum access necessary for their role. Regularly review and revoke unnecessary privileges. Use role-based access control. Robust logging and user behavior analytics. Don't just log activity, analyze it. UBA tools can detect anomalies in user behavior that might indicate an insider threat. Data loss prevention solutions deploy DLP to monitor, detect, and block sensitive data from leaving your network through unauthorized channels. Comprehensive offboarding checklists. When an employee leaves, revoke all access immediately, disable accounts, and retrieve all company assets. Security awareness training. Educate employees about insider threats, their role in prevention, and how to report suspicious activity safely and anonymously. Foster a positive workplace culture. Create an environment where employees feel valued, heard, and that their grievances can be addressed constructively. Protecting your data isn't just about building higher walls, it's also about knowing who you let inside and monitoring what they do once they're there. Insider threats are a stark reminder that security is a continuous, holistic effort that encompasses technology, policy, and human factors. It demands constant vigilance, not just from your IT team, but from everyone within the organization. Protect your data from inside and out. If you found this episode enlightening, please hit the like button, share it with your colleagues, and subscribe to Real Cyber Attacks You Didn't Know About for more critical cybersecurity insights. Let us know in the comments, what measures does your organization have in place to prevent insider threats? We want to hear from you.